MrBeast messed up, big time. I feel like I wake up every day to new allegations against MrBeast that are somehow worse than the previous allegations, and now there are just so many allegations, they're hard to keep track of, and apparently, the worst is yet to come. He is taking an astronomical amount of L's. So many so, the explosion of L's is so big, I'm getting hit by the shrapnel of it all. And initially, I wasn't going to make a Mogul mail about the MrBeast situation. And that was for two reasons. The first one is because I made a video on this channel about a week ago called I Don't Like This Channel. And in it, I basically talk about how I don't like doing drama videos. Drama videos do really well. They get millions and millions of views, but those viewers only want more drama videos. So I looked into more drama to make more videos to satisfy the viewers. And it's kind of a negative cycle. Like it loops, it feeds itself. It makes a lot of money. That's great. That's cool. But the viewers that come from it and the content that I make from it isn't something that I'm proud of or like. So I want to stop doing it. Over the past year, I've made half as many drama videos. And over the next year, I'll make a quarter as many until eventually I make none at all. But with this situation, it's obviously different. You know, not talking about MrBeast after he is the most viewed video on my channel. I've appeared on his channel like numerous times. I know the guy personally. People obviously want to know my opinion. But I still thought making a Mogul mail might be a mistake because I'm biased. I'm biased because I know MrBeast the person, and so MrBeast as the owner of MrBeast the company, the malfeasance he's done, how he's treated his employees poorly. I'm coming in with a POV of what I have seen, which is going to taint looking at it objectively. So I figured making a Mogul mail is not the best idea. And it's not like I'm hiding the situation by not making a Mogul mail on it. Frankly, there is a lot of coverage on it. More than probably any situation outside of maybe someone making an apology with a ukulele in the past 5 years. So I figured all I really needed to do was address this situation by watching like the Dogpack 404 video from the former MrBeast employee on stream, and then I could move on to doing things that I wanted to do, like gaming, playing Super Mario 64, enjoying the State Farm Gamerhood, yada, yada, yada. And anyway, this led to what I would argue is my greatest title and thumbnail ever. Does MrBeast fake his videos? Kids discuss. And also led to my worst live stream ever. Because frankly, the live stream was embarrassing. It was me watching the video, like kind of just trudging through it, pausing, talking about random aimless shit, trying to basically get through it so I could say, look, I've watched this thing. Now can I please move on to gaming, without actually objectively looking at what's being said and, admonishing where MrBeast went wrong and giving my actual opinion on it. I basically wanted to just get it over with without actually taking it at face value. And don't just have to take my word for it. You can look at the fucking like to dislike ratio on that live stream. I think it's the worst live stream I've ever done in terms of dislikes. 53%. That's a failing grade. And it was so bad, in fact, this live stream I did was so bad. I took such a big L that one of the biggest ASM artists on YouTube, a corner of the internet known for trying to calm people down and relax them, made a 15-minute video roasting me. This is one of the biggest ASMR YouTubers. He put on a fucking roast session. Got rid of the ASMR. He usually makes commentary about ASMR scandals, which apparently there are a lot of. I didn't know about all that. And paused to talk about me in the video's titled The Controlled Opposition to MrBeast. And anyway, I'm going to play a portion of it here.
Ludwig especially navigate through this entire drama and issue with the MrBeast company over the past few weeks has got to be some of the most insufferable content I think I've ever seen. And don't take my word for it, take his audience's word for it. Ludwig or
And he's totally right about that fact. The audience was not happy, and look, man, I wasn't happy. It's not like I'm fucking looking back on that stream and I'm like, damn, killed that one. It was bad. This is fake. I just showed you the likes, dislikes. I don't know where this is from, but his point still stands. And JoJo continues to go on to basically say that, I spent most of the video focusing on like a few points that were maybe weaker in the Dogpack 404 video rather than the broader points that were bad, like the illegal lottery or like forging his signature on different hoodies.
Now, instead of actually addressing the serious allegations to do with promoting gambling for children and illegal lotteries, Ludwig spends commentary towards how Dogpack 404 knew MrBeast had staged his 7 days out at sea, and how Dogpack could verify that MrBeast was on a yacht or not, which completely just...
Now, just to push back a little bit here, I did have a conversation with Dogpack404, the creator of the video. He turns out to actually be a Ludwig viewer. If you look at his most recent video, there's even a point in it where you can see, like in the sub box, my little face is there doing the smile thing, and I am live at that moment. And so anyway, I called him on stream, but I called him on stream at about the 16-minute mark of the video, which is before any of the illegal lottery stuff. So when I called him, I asked about what happened in the first 60 minutes of the video, which the video is a slow burn and starts off with a lot of stories about things being fake on the channel and whatnot, which surprised me. Right? And this is the exact clip that I talked about.
On the 4th day of 7 days stranded at sea, you can clearly see there's no one in the shelter. These are their empty beds. But after a hard cut, magically 5 people are awake, and 2 of the boys have bright yellow raincoats that they didn't have when it rained on day 2.
And after standing the whole night, completely soaked.
You didn't spend the night soaked, Jimmy. You slept on the production yacht. It's ironic because this is one of the...
And so I was just surprised by this. Like, I'm watching this live, I'm reacting to it. I'm like, damn, I'm shocked Jimmy would do something that dumb, right? Like, for a guy who walks around saying I don't fake videos, for him to leave during the middle of the night, go onto a production yacht is crazy. Because I've done MrBeast videos, and in the ones I do, he doesn't let me fake them, right? I had to spend 31 hours on a plane crash that happened, and I had to sleep on a plane wing. And so I was curious if this was either Dogpack extrapolating from the screenshot of them not being on the screen, that they obviously must not be on the raft. Where are they? Well, Jimmy's rich. They probably bought a yacht. Or if he had some insider intel. That is basically what happened. And this is where the initial allegations of controlled opposition started. And so for context, this is me having a call with Dawson, the Dogpack. Did you work on that video, or are you going off the video?
Dude, you are controlled opposition.
What does that mean?
It means you're trying to get me to reveal confidential information and break my NDA.
I don't know what your NDA is. I'm trying to ask questions about the freaking thing.
Oh, you know what an NDA is?
I do. Yeah, but I don't know what your NDA covers. Okay, what should I not ask you?
About any videos that I worked on.
And so Dawson just said not to ask him about any videos he didn't work on. But, you know, to be clear, I asked him when he worked at MrBeast Incorporated first.
I signed the first NDA February 22nd, and then, yeah, it was like April 20, whatever they said, April 20.
So basically February to April, even May or whatever you want to say, of 2024, of this year. That's when he worked there. But this video, 7 Days Stranded at Sea, came out August 2023. So I didn't think I was asking a question that broke his NDA. I thought I was asking a question about some intel he might have heard from a former employee or, like, you know, someone he had worked with in the past, not anything that he knew that he wasn't allowed to divulge. So point aside, ultimately, it doesn't matter, because I did watch the rest of the video and I did see the illegal lotteries, right? The forging the signatures, and didn't make enough comments about how that was wrong to do. And like, frankly, it is fucked up to sell hoodies that have your signature that somebody else signed on your behalf is wrong, right? You shouldn't do that. They should just sign with their names. It's fine if you get a hoodie and it's signed by, like, Tyler instead of MrBeast, but you just can't have Tyler sign on behalf of MrBeast. And personally, I think MrBeast should do right by those people. He's rich, fucking refund him, right? And then the illegal lottery, the same thing. When people do illegal lotteries in the United States and it goes to court, what happens? They give all the money they made from those illegal lotteries back, and they prove that their business practices have changed so it doesn't happen in the future, right? You know, he might even be able to go one step beyond and not do like the shady cereal box thing where it's like impossible to sign up for free, and make it a little easier on people. But what helped most of all was after that first stream, I just talked to Dogpack offline. But talking to him online was a much worse environment than talking to him offline. And he gave me a good perspective, which is that, look, I know MrBeast, the person. And with my experiences with him, I came to the conclusion that, you know, I thought he was a good person. I thought he was doing right by people. I never worked at MrBeast Incorporated. I just know as, like, talent on shoots how he operates. And Dogpack came with the POV of, well, look, dude, you don't know MrBeast, the company, right? Or MrBeast, like the CEO or whatever the title he has at his company. And the things he does there, they don't operate well, all right? His employees aren't being treated right. And that hits home to me. Like, I like treating my employees well. I mean, I made my company a workers' co-op. That is very important to me. It is not something that I take lightly. But I had to divorce the idea of like this guy that I knew and what I think about this guy versus how he operated in his company and the bad things his company did. Now, so that first video, that was the main issue with it. And that was wrong. It was a shit live stream. Anyway, JoJo goes on to then talk about the most recent live stream I did, which was reacting to the second dog pack video. And this one is an interview with Jake Weddle, a former employee who became a contestant, and the bad conditions he had as a contestant on a 30 days in solitary video.
Ironically makes the take, Jake, who bear in mind at this point is sleep deprived, they haven't turned off the lights whatsoever, he's had no exposure to sunlight, has been in solitary confinement, has had to deal with awful putrid smells of tubs and dairy products and paint fumes. Ludwig actually makes the take that instead of MrBeast making the challenge for Jake to run a marathon out of nowhere, he should have instead made the challenge for, if he wins it, that MrBeast would actually then turn the lights off. Which is an insane, detached take to have.
The pay thing makes sense. The bigger thing that they shouldn't have done is made him run a marathon and then kept the lights on. Like, that to me is the things that were wrong. So, yeah, just to be clear, I just said they shouldn't have made him run a marathon and they shouldn't have, kept the lights on. Right? Like, turn the lights off, have some way, because usually in MrBeast videos, if there's something that a competitor struggles with, that then becomes the next thing he offers as a way to detract money, and it becomes part of it. And it's what they do in Survivor or other shows, like in Survivor when they're not eating for a while, Jeff then comes up with a bag of rice that they play for or whatever that they can split. And so they adapt to how the person is struggling. So they should have done that with the light, obviously. And then not made him run the marathon.
What's going on? You can't even do this stuff to terrorists, as they say in the video. How is this the take that you're making? And the comparison to, actually professionally produced TV shows like Survivor are inappropriate on all fronts, because those shows, as I said, are professionally produced with a safety team and HR and all of these facilities to ensure the contestants are being taken care of.
Look, I am not passionate about this analogy. What I was basically saying is that they should have kept the lights off. They just should have kept them off at night, allowed him to sleep. But they made a mistake. They fucked up. So then they should have at least adapted, right? They hear this guy, Jake Weddle, the competitor, complaining. They come in, they go, okay, we can turn the lights off in exchange for you giving up a hot tub or whatever. Basically what they did in the other video they made about solitary confinement, where they would give up items in exchange for money. At least allow it to be a part of the contest instead of not turning the lights off and then also making him run a marathon, which several times I admonished throughout the stream because it's obviously a fucked up thing to do. And the Survivor comparison came up because I know he's saying Survivor's professional. Some fucked up shit's happened in Survivor. Bulgarian Survivor, a guy died, and then they continued to air the show and showed his death on air. French Survivor, somebody died. They died. It was a 25-year-old. They died because the conditions of Survivor are very difficult on the heart and the body, right? Even the most recent edition of the American Survivor, Liz didn't take a shit for 16 days. That is when it becomes a medical emergency. So when you're past 2 weeks of not taking a shit. And so that's why I was thinking is okay, when that happens in the show, they obviously aren't trying to kill these contestants, but they adapt in it to make sure that they are doing better. And that's what they should have done in their MrBeast shoot. Not at all saying that, hey, to get the lights off, you have to give up $10,000 and run a marathon. Not it at all. Basically saying there was a lack of adaptation on the behalf of the producers and MrBeast company. And then he continues on to say the bigger fault that I had and probably the worst thing that I said in the entire reaction.
And the other take that Ludwig had said several times in the stream was, well, if he was having trouble, he could have walked away from this challenge whenever he wanted. He could have just stepped away. I mean, it's his decision at the end of the day. He didn't have to be there.
I empathize with the difficulty of the challenge, but ultimately you know what the challenge is when you go into it. And I think you can walk, right?
And
So this is just a lie. I don't know why JoJo did this. I didn't say that several times. Here's the exact clip of me saying it. Empathize with the difficulty of the challenge, but ultimately you know what the challenge is when you go into it, and I think you can walk, right? And then I continued on. This is at the very start of the video before he even talked about how the lights being on breaks the Geneva Convention. It's a war crime. And at the end of my thought, I say this: value this man's experience based off of much worse experience. But this one, you can walk. Well, I guess we're going to get there. I just said, I guess we're going to get there because I was live reacting to it. And when I got the new information that, you know.
And I go, they're not turning the lights off. He goes, what? That's a war crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists. Oh, good.
So this is after I said the he can leave thing, because I just didn't know about it yet because I hadn't watched that part of the video. And towards the end of the video, I literally talk about how insane it is of you know, the producers in MrBeast production to have set up an environment where an individual like Jake deteriorated so quickly. Within 10 days of him being in there, he was struggling so much with it that even now, we're counting it 3 years later, it is an overwhelming topic to talk about. But what's more interesting to me is how quickly he deteriorated in the smaller time frame. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's how tough it was for him to be in that environment. And the lights on and the smell and all that he was describing. And look, maybe JoJo just watched like the first part of the live stream, or like, you know, found the worst things that I said out of context and threw it together, which is fine. I get it. But throughout the entire live stream, I thought that this story from Jake was horrible, right? Like, genuinely, I thought it was fucking horrible. It reminds me of that Japanese game show contestant, Nasubi, which Charlie made a video about, a guy who was kept in solitary for almost a year as a part of this huge Japanese variety show, an aspiring comedian who had the option to leave, but never left. And I've watched his Hulu documentary. It's really worth watching. It's called The Contestant if you haven't seen it. And so for everyone whose position is, oh, he could leave whenever he wants, it's not that easy. And I talked about this on my live stream. I mean, I don't even think like it needs to be that deep. Like, I just believe like if you are talent, like Jake Weddle was for the shoot, that like it, you know what's a good example? Really, fuck man, here's a homework assignment. If you guys haven't seen this shit, not even homework assignment, it's just a good video. It's called Nasubi, documentary, but it's about, again, this Japanese comedian who took part in this wildly popular game show in Japan. And there's a Hulu documentary called The Contestant about it. And in it, he describes how he spent a year of his life in a room in solitary, basically, naked, and why he never left, even though he was allowed to leave at any moment. And I think that, because the whole time you're watching, you're like, why didn't he leave? Why didn't he leave? And I think it's because the opportunity seems too great to pass up. So, like, I think he's trying to, like, connect that, like, oh, there's this document. It says, oh, you can't take no for an answer. There's a sales strategy, whatever. Like, I understand the connections he's trying to make. Sure, that's all fine and dandy. But I think much more powerful than any of that is the just, like, you know, the thought of, you know, this opportunity is too big to pass up or something. So I don't agree with the people who say he could leave whenever he wanted, right? There's $300,000 on the line. There was the pressures of the shoot and wanting to be a good contestant. And Jake described himself as someone who grew up without any money. And so this money was life-changing, you know? Like, I totally understand why he didn't leave when he first started to struggle. And I understood that as I watch a video, which is what happens when you watch a video, right? Yeah, I didn't know it in the first 5 minutes of the video because he didn't get to that yet. So I don't know why JoJo went off to say all that shit about me saying that he could leave whenever he wanted. I disagree with that now. I disagreed with it when I watched the video. And I really think Nasubi is a good example for anyone who still thinks right now, like someone watching this probably thinks he could leave whenever he wanted. Watch that documentary. Because that guy, dude, a year, solitary confinement, naked, no human contact. Like, that changes you for the rest of your life. Literally the rest of your life. And he never left. Why? And like that documentary explains it in ways that I don't think I can to people who still think that same thought process. Hey, he can leave whenever he wants. It's also worth noting that my chat was cringe for the entirety of this stream. it's a lot of drama frogs, but it's also a lot of just ride or die MrBeast lovers who want me to be like the bastion in defender of MrBeast. And throughout the stream, I was defending Jake against weird people in chat. He's not reading off anything. Everyone keeps saying he's reading off stuff. He's just clearly like a stand-up comic or like, well, no, he's just clearly a fan of stand-up comic, a stand-up comic himself, and he talks very much like a stand-up comic does. Like a very much like the thing is like if you, there's like it's the same with YouTuber voice, there's stand-up voice, and he has stand-up voice. And just to be clear, people who are in my chat being cringe about the situation don't reflect how I feel about the situation. I tried to put it in members only mode to curb that in the first place. And if you're wondering how I feel about it, I'll tell you right now. I think Jimmy needs to make a reply. Like, he technically doesn't need to. He uploaded a YouTube video and it got 120 million views. And he could probably continue to upload videos without ever replying and continue to get hundreds of millions of views. But I won't be able to support him. I won't support him in any way, shape, or form if that's what he does. Because I think he needs to reply specifically to why he hired a sex offender. Like, how did that happen? That's a crazy thing to do with a guy who runs a channel that is primarily targeted towards children, you know? Apologize to Jake Weddle. Like, how did that situation end up as it was? Were producers on it fired? Like, what course of action was taken? Like, how was right done so no one else is treated like Jake again? You know? Everyone who bought a forged MrBeast hoodie got to get their money back. They got scammed. I love a good scam, but that's probably a little too much. Everyone who participated in an illegal lottery needs to have right done by them, right? You need to just make up for everyone who participated in those because that is against the law. And then also show how you change your business practices so that doesn't happen again. And finally, I also need to know about like Beast Games. Like, what is going on there? Obviously, a lot of that's shrouded in secrecy and it's like, you know, little whispers. So what's actually going on? And that still doesn't account for him having to reply for things that haven't yet come out, right? Dogpack says a third part's coming out, and it's about how he covered up like sexual assault at the workplace, which is by far the most severe claim that has yet to come out, that will come out. And he'll have to make a reply to that too. And when I say have to, I mean like that's at the bare minimum what I expect from him. Now, I did talk to MrBeast because I was actually supposed to partner with him. The timing's not great. Obviously, we had these conversations months before any of this came out. But Feastables, his chocolate bar company, was supposed to be one of the big sponsors for Streamer Games. And so it was inked. We were supposed to do it. I called him and I said two things. One, when are you going to reply? And he echoed what was said in the Dogpack video, which is when everything comes out, he's going to make one reply as opposed to a reply after every single video. So we'll see when that happens. And then two, he allowed me to pull out. So like for everyone saying I'm controlled op, I'm paid by MrBeast to defend him. Just so we're clear, I'm now losing 100K by not defending him, right? Like that's just on the opposite side. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. This event's going to lose money. And I know you might be thinking, Ludwig, you're a millionaire. That's true. But this doesn't reflect against me. It reflects against Off-Brand. It's not a decision I make lightly. This decision impacts all the employees. And I'm not saying anyone's getting fired. Of course not. If we are over that cash low, I would make sure that I help the cash reserves. But it does reflect in the books at the end of the year. A company can only thrive if it's making money, if it's profitable. You can't be not profitable for years and still exist. And at the end of the year, we're going to be 100K down, which hits a lot. So it's not an easy choice to make, but I know it's the right choice to make. And I feel like putting my money where my mouth is should hopefully prove that I'm not paid to defend Jimmy in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, that's basically my thoughts on it. I know there's a new Dogpack video coming out, which I absolutely will be watching. I've been keeping up with basically everything, but maybe refraining from commenting online and leaving it to the more Pegasus of the world. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you all. See you later. Goodbye. See you later. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye.